Hello world. Today I'm going to continue yesterday's subscribers request. Today is a subscribers request episode 16, and I'm going to continue it in modeling this train. And also I'll try to talk. I'll try to say something interesting, something what I think interesting. Maybe it could be interesting for you too. Recently, a couple days ago, I watched what's they call it? A review? Not review. I noticed that one particular show, TV show, Netflix show, is being very aggressively advertised. And I got curious and checked it out, and I was surprised. I was just blown away what kind of weird and strange things are happening nowadays. Of course, it could be because of the quarantine. People are run out of things to watch. People run out of things they're watching now, whatever, because it's kind of taking a long time. But that was really even disturbing at some point, I think. Well, at least personally to me, because the show I'm talking about is Joe Exotic. The guy, the very first time I've seen him a long time ago on a political satire show. Is that correct to say that? John Oliver last week tonight, I think. He was like a presidential candidate or something. The weird one. Okay, they call them freaks or something. Well, not freaks I don't think it's in a bad way, but people are who are way too, how to explain it, I forgot the word to describe the personality who really like to be center of attention. There is a word for that. I apologize, I forgot it. And I'm trying to remember it even in my own language, and I can't. That's how bad my memory is. Not impulsive, but what's the word? Come on. But, well, the people who like trying to be center of attention no matter what, that kind of, well, I wouldn't say freaks, but they kind of are a little bit. Very unusual people. That's maybe the nicest way to say it. And Joe Exotic, maybe for people who don't know yet. Well, when I saw him very first time in that political show, I didn't pay any attention to that. It's just some guy, gay guy, who was trying to become presidential candidate, and that was okay. That kind of people exist, and they're, well, weird and unusual behavior. They have weird and unusual behavior. But after I noticed that it's being advertised very aggressively. I checked that review of that show, and I was really surprised, like how weird and unusual, and I realized that I live in a very strange time, because that kind of show I wouldn't even ever thought that going to be possible. Of course, I never seen actual show. I only saw the reviews. I can only judge by reviews of it. But still, it was just way too I don't know how to say, crazy. I think it's a good description. Yeah, there's too much craziness going on. And I don't know, is that a good thing, or did I miss something? Because after watching a review of that show, I really it really reminded me other thing, the movie. It's called Idiocracy. I don't know how to pronounce it. And that movie is kind of becoming reality. So the Idiocracy is a movie. If nobody see it, I also have to admit I didn't see it. I saw only again review, because I don't have time. I'm trying to do stuff. I'm trying to do useful stuff, and that Idiocracy movie, it's showing the future America, and the in its weirdest, and it's a comedy, and it's a fictional, and of course it's a movie, it's not a documentary, but everything what's going on in there, it's that show, Joe Exotic show, it's reminded me that movie, and that was a very weird feeling I had. And I was really shocked by some old show, was they call it the first time when I saw it was like around 10 years ago. When it happened, if you see it, if you saw it, probably you know that Honey Boo Boo. I don't know the actual name of the show, but you probably know who Honey Boo Boo is, and probably I should Google it and give you visual information about things I'm talking about. The Joe Exotic. There's this guy, and the show is totally crazy. They're just that is zoo thing, and the cake guy, and there was some even murder or something. I don't know. I haven't watched. Probably I should have collected more information on that. And this show is being aggressively advertised right now. And what's going on in that show, I'm not going to watch it. I think it's really weird and wrong and not healthy. And I don't know why it's popular. Well, it's getting promoting very aggressively. Who's paying for that? This is crazy. And the movie, it's reminded me. I haven't watched it yet, but I got really interested. And this movie crazy too, but it is just a movie. It's fictional, and this movie is becoming reality. That's crazy thing, and I gotta watch it. Apparently it looks very interesting. In Honey Boo Boo, probably everybody in the world, I mistype. Everybody in the world knows who she is. That girl and that little girl, and they had their own TV show. Very weird, and I couldn't believe that even exists. And this made me realize that nothing, how to say it, you cannot get famous by doing, there is a saying, you cannot get famous by doing good things. Actually, how to say, useful things. You can get famous only by doing something extremely weird and bad. I don't know how to explain it. The world is apparently going crazy. And of course there is a high probability of that people are watching now whatever, because they just most likely run out of the things to watch, the shows to watch, because quarantine is going a long time now, and maybe that's why people watching like even very bad stuff. And maybe of course it's wrong to judge a show which you never watched. I watched only review of it, and I don't know, maybe most of the people like that kind of stuff, because I gotta admit that most people not intellectual, they don't read books, and don't like to think a lot. Me too, actually. I would really, if I could, I would never make any thoughts, probably. Just to be totally honest, I'm extremely lazy, and I just have to work and have to do something in order to survive. And also another thing, I want to do it as easily as I can. That's another thing. And most of the people, they just wanna drink a beer and watch a show, or basically do nothing. I think maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, but from what I saw, from my life experience, most people are just like that. And maybe that's why that kind of shows are getting popular. And in my opinion, it's unwatchable. That Honey Boo Boo thing, this Joe Exotic thing, and I'm really surprised. Of course, if you watched everything, for example, if I wasn't doing 3D modeling in these videos, I would have also probably just watch whatever show on TV or online, or how to say that. Yeah, if you have, for example, like with my video games, I beat them all basically. video games on my PlayStation 4, and I just don't have anything. And the last game I beat, it was the Doom, because the very first time when I bought it, I just stuck in I didn't know what to do at some level, and I don't like being stuck, and like how to say, very first games I beat on my PlayStation, I complete they were like good games, the games I like, the cool games. Then after I beat good games, I started playing like okay games, like they're not as good but okay. And the very last one, that was a Doom actually is a really good game too, visually. It's just I stuck in some area and didn't know what to do next. Of course, I could have look at YouTube and see how to pass that level. I could have looked it up, but it's like, to me it's like cheating, and I didn't do it. So last game was I beat it. It was last favorite, and if I wasn't doing these videos, I would have watched everything. Well, personally, I would have read some books, most likely, because but it's another issue with the books reading. Like I don't like read bad books, and it's difficult to judge a book without reading it, because book, it's not a movie, it's not a video game. You cannot watch a good review, or I don't know, maybe there are some good reviews on the books, and personally I would have watched, or I would have read good book, but people apparently they just watch bad shows when they run out of things to watch. I personally wouldn't do it, but I cannot say for others what other people would do. You can see on internet what kind of crazy things people do out of boredom, because they're really bored now. Some ballet dancers dancing on their kitchens, and a lot of weird stuff going on. Yeah, being staying at home all the time, it's not a good thing, apparently. But again, you shall not judge people. People like what they like. So if they like bad movies, and well, nobody likes bad movies, but if you have nothing to watch, you gonna watch even bad stuff. It is okay. So in this quarantine thing, yesterday I already talked about it. The like the odds to get that virus. If you compare numbers, odds are very low to get that virus. It's just it's that the virus is aggressive, especially if you have health problems. But there is another really weird thing, like a very high probability of getting that virus if you are a high rank official. This is just, I was really surprised because just this morning, I think maybe it's a fake news, who knows, that I find out that Russian Prime Minister, newly assigned, has coronavirus. And like, how many prime ministers in the world you have, and why they have such a high probability of getting that virus? That is a little bit weird too, in my opinion, and kind of unusual. And the guy, that UK Prime Minister, he has already had, he recovered from that virus. He got one, and this is kind of really unusual, that if you're high-ranking politician, like an official, what's they call it, well, prime minister. There is only one for a country. Some countries it doesn't have even prime ministers, and somehow, of course, maybe it's explained by that they meet a lot of people, but still, something's really weird and unusual is going on, in my opinion. But I'm not conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be that guy. It's just, to me, it seems really odd and unusual. Hopefully it's gonna stop soon, because this virus really made life difficult for a lot of people. And there is a little disproportional. This height is a little bit higher than here, but well, I don't have blueprints, and again, I'm working as a sculptor, and yeah, the best sculptor would have done it perfectly, but apparently I'm not a best sculptor. I'm going to leave it as it is, because yeah, I don't have that much time to polish it to the perfect condition, and it's not as noticeable for a lot of people. Only very good professionals could see that kind of small difference. So I'm going to leave it as it is. And it is actually a good question. What to do on the quarantine if you run out things to do? If you played all the video games and read all the books, which is, I don't think it's physically possible for human being to read all the books in the world. Is it how many books there are in the world right now, and how much time do you really need to read them all? Every book in the world for a person. I think human being cannot achieve that. Only artificial intelligence or some kind of symbiosis, is that correct to say? Symbiosis between human being and artificial intelligence can achieve that kind of goal to read all the books in the world, all of them. And not only read, you have to memorize it. Keep in mind that you cannot just read them all, you have to remember them all. And only artificial intelligence doesn't lose the experience it has. It always remembers everything it reads or it does. There are so many advances in artificial intelligence, and that would be perfect for me. You know, I like to learn stuff, but I am lazy to read, I'm lazy to memorize, and I wish I had some ability just to upload knowledge into my brain without really, I'd say, working on getting as much knowledge as possible. That would be so great, just to remember everything you already know and getting new knowledge almost instantly, like artificial intelligence does. And never lose that experiences. That would be cool too. Always remember what happened. A lot of books I've read, unfortunately I forgot. I have vague memories of what's going on in those books. I'm actually really slow somehow with this project, but the speed of the project really depends on what kind of detailizations you want on your project. If you want really highly detailed 3D model, and detailization of 3D model really depends on how far camera is going to be from the object, and whether that object going to be rotated or not. So that is the best way. For example, from far away, you just can have just a picture probably, or cut out, like a cardboard kind of like cutout you can make in Photoshop and put on your 3D scene some far away from the camera, and that would be enough. It's supposed to be enough. Yeah, if there is a close-ups and if there is a camera movement, especially around the object, you have to have different level of detailization of the object. And that's what defines a level of detailization. I personally always wanted to put as much details on a project as much as it possible. And so, what was it? Was some documentary about the video extras on DVD, how they were making of the Transformers, one of the early Transformers movie, Michael Bay's movies, Transformers, and if I remember correctly, they prepared very detailed robots, 3D models, very extremely detailed, and the director, the Michael Bay, he said that it's not enough details, there is not enough detailization, and they made more, and he said no, it's still not enough, and they were trying to make as much detailization as possible, but it's never look complete. It's only look complete from really far away, but if you get closer with camera, you can see incomplete areas. It's just you have to do it in time complete enough for good close-ups, camera close-ups, very to say well, so you will be able to zoom very close to the object, to the 3D model, and won't see any incomplete issues with the 3D model. Actually, I noticed some issues when I was in the theater and I was watching it, but I noticed only because I was 3D modeler. A regular guy wouldn't notice it, I think. Regular people won't be able to see it, most likely. I think it was on some headlights. Some Transformer headlights were kinda a little bit funny looking. It's again, well, not going to close to an hour yet, but I'm busy with my other projects and I want them complete too. I want to complete them too, and but I still am trying to help subscribers with their project, and I will try to do what they ask. I don't have much subscribers yet. It's very few people actually asking me. If there are going to be a lot of people, it's unlikely that I'll be able to do all the requests. This is hopefully by watching my 3D projects being done in a blender, they will learn how to do their projects. I did just for paneling and not even complete. I didn't do the headlights yet. I'm actually recording already 30 minutes, and most likely even today I will not be able to complete it, even the front part. I really have to speed it up. But also I like projects which are, some 3D modelers do. You can tell by looking at their work, like they put their souls in it. It's so well done and so, is that the word, meticulously, like it's even smallest details are complete with such a, let's say, well, you can tell they love the project, they love the objects they do, and you can tell by the work that they put a lot of time and effort on it, because it was fun to them, and it is inspiring to watch, to look at that kind of projects. I really like that kind of project, because I get inspired from them. Like, sometimes when I feel lazy and not in the mood to do something like in 3D, like why do I have to do it? I don't want to. Well, sometimes if I have feelings like that, I usually Google like other people's work on the internet, and because some of the work, some of the 3D projects are so well done and so good, and I immediately want to do something similar. I get inspired, and I was like, oh, I wish I could have done something like that, and it gives me motivation. So if you feel lazy and not in the mood to work, just look at the others people work, good work. But if people like what they do, for example, I like cars a lot, and I can model cars relatively easily. Don't have usually problems with it. But for example, the characters, I wasn't particularly interested in doing and modeling characters, and maybe that's why I have difficulties. But again, as I told yesterday, in order to do something well, you have to do it a lot. You cannot expect good job out of just very few experience. Like, I did 2 cartoonish characters. You cannot expect from me, to do like really nice character model. It's gonna be bad. It's not gonna look well. So, but if I put more effort to it, hopefully I will be able to make maybe not like perfect model, but decent model. You know what I'm saying? Good looking enough 3D model. Maybe one day I will show you my very first 3D projects, one of the very first 3D projects. They're so funny looking. So funny looking. And Blender is a software for 3D visualization, for render, for animation. I don't think it was like it meant to make projects for actual production. Personally, I really want to learn how to do 3D models like engineers do, real engineers. But those programs are so sophisticated, and it's unfortunately not that easy. Even though on videos on YouTube, the latest CATIA, it's look very simple, and it's, at least on the video, who knows how it is to make projects in real in that program. CATIA V6, I think. Maybe there is a new one. I haven't checked for a long time. Right now I'm trying to make correct topology manually. Well, relatively correct, at least. Relatively correct. It does look okay even now, but what if I want to increase smoothness? Because right now I can see angles, and if there is gonna be like real close-ups on the headlights, those angles are going to stay. And if I add some division surface, does it actually look okay? We have issues here. This area needs to be fixed. Has to be fixed. So you still have to put some time and effort on fixing geometry. It's interesting what kind of 3D models will artificial intelligence do, AI do, when it's advanced enough to do 3D models. Why robots don't not advanced yet to make food, for example? That should have that could have make life so much easier. I think it would be so great. And why we don't have flying cars? Is this future, isn't it? Too complex, too complicated task. Probably. Okay. Here we have headlights. Lights. LED headlights apparently. And I forgot to put bolts. Right now, unfortunately, because of the low resolution, I cannot really see what kind of bolts there are. So I'm just going to put something simplified. I ran out things to say, unfortunately. Talking is not continuously talking, speaking. It's not easy thing to and I hate those pauses. But it's getting close to 1 hour. It's 45 minutes. And maybe if, well, for this project, level of detailization I choose personally. I wanted detail and how to say, detailed enough. I want 3D model detailed enough so it can people can render like from very close-ups. You can zoom camera very close and the level of detailization doesn't decrease. When you do only extreme close-ups, you can see that it's not as detailed. So for this project I choose it personally, but again, the level of detailization really depends on how far camera going to get, how close camera going to get to an object. And I'm kind of doing it slow. It's supposed to be, but it's just a second hour. And you cannot do very detailed model instantly. You can do very relatively quickly, really like rough models. This kind of detailization, for example, like here, is gonna take some times no matter what. Look, some guy really spent some times making this, and apparently he knows very well trains and how they built too, because if you don't have that knowledge, you're gonna run into problems. So, well, it's just 48 minutes, but I've run out of things to say, and maybe I will continue this video tomorrow, hopefully. And also there are some other projects waiting for me. Other projects I would like to complete too. Okay, for today I think this is it. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, you can always leave a mean comment. on the comment section below. Till next time, bye bye.